Rich Paul is one of the more influential figures in the NBA today, and notably one of NBA superstar LeBron James' closest and longtime friends. However, their first meeting and budding friendship happened purely by chance and a prime example of right place, right time. Paul grew out of humble beginnings. Growing up on Cleveland, Ohio's east side, there was no silver spoon or privilege that would lend itself to starting one of the biggest agencies in sports. A young Rich Paul lived above his father's shop, a candy store that was a staple of the community. Rich's dad, Rich Paul Sr., sent his son to Benedictine High School, a private Catholic prep school in the center of Cleveland. But tragically, Paul Sr. would never see the fruit of his labor, passing away from cancer in 1999. Many kids would have spiraled out of control at the loss of a parent in their senior year of high school, but the 18-year-old managed to keep control and graduated. Paul knew the traditional path through college wasn't for him, so instead, he began getting involved in the buying and reselling of throwback jerseys. At the time, throwback jerseys weren't mass-marketed, and despite being wildly popular, they hadn't become mainstream enough to warrant huge production runs. Paul would routinely travel to Atlanta, Georgia, and back to Cleveland, collecting as many throwbacks as he could, and selling them out of his car. Paul knew what he wanted. His eye for jerseys in which players to stock was legendary. That's precisely what happened when a fate encounter at the Akron-Canton airport would change his life forever. The year is 2002, and there's a buzz around the country that an 18-year-old basketball phenom, LeBron James, was nonetheless the hottest young athlete in the world, dominating magazine covers. Analysts claimed that the next great NBA superstar was arriving, and people crowned him as the quote-unquote next Michael Jordan. For a weekend trip, LeBron, who was still in high school at the time, decided a while back to book a flight to Atlanta with his friends to see the NCAA Final Four. And the day it finally came, LeBron was waiting at the Akron-Canton airport in Ohio, preparing to board a flight, when he was distracted by a skinny young man wearing an authentic, absolute pristine condition, powder blue, Warren Moon Oilers jersey. LeBron, wearing a Michael Vick jersey of his own, decided to approach the man as it was too much to let pass. LeBron James went up to him, dying to know where he got such an incredible throwback, and Rich Paul, who just so happened to wear the jersey that day, was eager to tell James about his throwback business. Needing to get his hands on the product, LeBron gave his contact information to Paul, and soon he was buying jerseys exclusively from the man he met at the airport. The relationship started with a Magic Johnson Lakers jersey and a Joe Namath Rams jersey, but quickly blossomed into so much more, and the duo became fast friends. But nowadays, trust and loyalty is extremely difficult to come by, especially when it comes to celebrities and high-profile athletes like LeBron. Since LeBron was drafted in 2003 and had an extremely quick rise to the top of the NBA, while also making millions of dollars, there were always people asking for handouts or wanting to take from him. This prompted LeBron to weed out all of the negative people in his life and create a strong group of people that would support him. And as we all know, elite athletes have a huge array of people that they rely on, but a very small number of who get to be inducted into their inner circle. For LeBron James, he relied on his childhood friends, now entrepreneur and successful businessman Maverick Carter, and basketball executive Randy Mims more than anyone. But this was soon to be open to Rich Paul as well, who had transcended simply selling jerseys to the future star, becoming a trusted confidant by LeBron. The trio ended up being LeBron's main support system, each filling a specialized role. Carter served as LeBron's business manager, shaping and cultivating his personal brand, while Mims was a middleman between LeBron and the Cavaliers, communicating important information between the parties. Rich Paul was tasked with working under legendary agent Leon Rose at Creative Artists Agency to better understand how sports agencies work. It was a brilliant system that made up every aspect of LeBron's career and ensured the budding superstar had people he trusted at every point of his journey. With years of learning the ropes at CAA and seeing Rose negotiate with LeBron's extension with the Cavaliers in 2006, LeBron's inner circle believed that they were ready to start their own agency. And in 2012, Rich Paul and James founded Klutch Sports, leaving CAA and making preparations for James' contract with the Miami Heat to expire in the summer of 2014. Hiring smart people around him, like contract guru Mark Termini, Klutch quickly became the hottest new agency for NBA players. The combination of LeBron's star power and Paul's natural gift for salesmanship, the agency was a force in basketball. From 2014 to 2019, Klutch, under Paul's leadership, had negotiated $1.4 billion in NBA contracts, expanding its client roster to 25 players, including Anthony Davis, Ben Simmons, and Trae Young, to name a few. The popularity of Klutch absolutely terrified the sports agency industry, and in an effort to take down Rich Paul because of his rapid growth and success at the time, during NCAA meetings in 2019, a curious new rule was adopted. It mandated that any agent trying to represent players had to hold a bachelor's degree from college. This, a clear shot at Rich Paul who didn't attend college, was referred to as the Rich Paul rule in many circles. The NCAA's rationale was that the degree somehow protected players, though that rang hollow. In the case of Klutch Sports, it wasn't a monolith with Paul at the top calling shots, but rather a network of trained agents handling the business. Paul was certainly the figurehead, but his experience both dealing with LeBron and working with CAA certainly gave him the claim over being a good agent. Instead, the decision seemed far more rooted in the realization that no agency could keep up with Klutch. Paul and company boasted phenomenal contracts for athletes, and the star power of LeBron James behind the organization. That made it exceedingly difficult to keep up if you're an establishment agency with the same pedigree. The NCAA's decision led to Paul writing an op-ed for The Athletic, where he exposed the rule, saying it was designed to keep out minorities and people from less privileged backgrounds from becoming sports agents. The NCAA would back down following the release of the op-ed, cementing Paul as one of the biggest players in the sports landscape. Today, Klutch Sports continues to grow and become a dominant force in the world of sports representation. More recently, Paul accepted his position with United Talent Agency to have Klutch Sports manage its sports division. UTA, primarily focused on film and television, represents a new venture for Paul to continue to solidify himself as a premier agent, and with LeBron already taking foray into film with Space Jam: A New Legacy, the future of Klutch is bright. And after researching this story, I gained so much more respect from LeBron as a person. Growing up in a rough situation as a child to then becoming one of the greatest basketball players of all time takes a toll on your mental, can easily fade somewhat out of reality. One thing I've noticed is that LeBron didn't forget where he came from, and along with his NBA journey, he brought his boys along for the ride, made sure they got theirs as well. Now guys like Maverick, Rich, and Randy are enjoying the ride with LeBron. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to hit that sub button down below and hit that like button. I'd really appreciate it. This is one of the most interesting stories I've covered so far, and I hope I could find some just as interesting as this. I appreciate it. Until next time.